Good evening. My name is Stephanie Gregory, and I will be talking to you today about the 5 components of reading and how we can enhance those components. I'm going to share my screen with you. You just give me 1 second. So, like I said, today we're going to be talking about um, the 5 components of literacy, enhancing literacy and the strategies you can use for success with these components. Our first component is phonemic awareness. And as you know, phonemic awareness has to do with the ability to hear those individual sounds spoken in words. One of the strategies for phonemic awareness, and I like to use it in the classroom as well, is using sound blending activities. For instance, if you say the word cat, you sound it out, at, what's the word? Cat. And this is where students blend individual sounds to form words. For writing, students can practice segmenting these words into individual sounds before they can write them down. Our next component is phonics. Now, phonics, understanding the relationship between the letters and the sounds. So it's that relationship that letters and sounds build so that you can speak those words. But phonics explicit instruction using systematic and sequential approach is the key. Now, a strategy, and I also like to use this strategy, I just used it in the classroom the other day, is using word families. By teaching students common letter sound patterns within the word family, such as at, cat, bat, rat, mat, they can apply this knowledge to decode unfamiliar words. But not only can they decode it, they can also encode that word and write down each sound that they hear. And that would be our phonics component. The next component is our fluency. Now, fluency is the ability to read with accuracy, speed, and expression. To improve fluency, one of the strategies I like to use is repeated readings. With these repeated readings, it provides opportunities for oral reading practice, but not only that, it gives the students a chance to review those words that they were missing before, become more confident in their reading because they know what they're reading and they can be able to do it on their own within a short period of time. Now, involving the writing part of it, writing short stories or poems would be one strategy that I would use. And not only just writing the short stories or poems, but I also like to for the students to share those strategies or their poems in short stories with the rest of the class, or even with a partner or a small group of students, just so long as they're getting it out, getting the words off the paper, what they've written. Vocabulary. Vocabulary is the knowledge of words and their meanings. One of the strategies I think is context clues, where you see a word in a sentence, but you might not know exactly what it is. But if you look at the words around it, it could give you clues as to what that word could mean. So vocabulary is done through explicit instruction and exposure to rich language experiences. One of the strategies in writing that I would use is to create a personal vocabulary journal where when the students hear a new word, they write it in their journal, they discuss it, they talk to their peers about what they think that word might mean, and then the teacher will give a kid-friendly example or the meaning of that word, and the students can use those words that's in their journal when they're doing their own personal writing. Comprehension. Comprehension, and comprehension that requires a number of strategies. You can use questioning, summarizing, and making connections. Building that background knowledge, that goes along with comprehension as well. For the writing, students could use exit slips to see if they understood what was being read or even what they were reading. Summarizing stories, same thing, to see if the students understood what they were writing. or if they could retell the story in their own words. Another effective strategy, instructional strategy that I also would use for writing is, and especially for those students that struggle, would be graphic organizers. And graphic organizer will help the students to plan and organize their thoughts before writing. So in order, you probably would be using the writing process to incorporate this strategy. Um, how would I monitor the students to see if they are making progress? Formative assessments, and that can be a number of strategies you can use with that, such as running records. Observations is a good strategy to use, and informal reading inventories. And that's just to gather data on the students to see where they are, if they are progressing, or do you need to adjust their instruction to fit where they are. Several resources that I used to do this video was English Language Learners in the Five Essential Components by Beth Antonuez. One of my favorite is Reading Rockets. And the other one was The Pillars of Early Literacy. So these are the resources that I use to gather my information for this video. Do we have any questions? Okay, good. Y'all have been a great audience. Thank you for listening and have a good evening.